What is going on, guys? It's been a while. It's been about almost 2 weeks. I appreciate everybody reaching out. Obviously, as some of you know, I was dealing with a little bit of a personal matter at home, but thank God everything is settling in. Now, what has been happening with interest rates? We have seen a dramatic downshift when we talk about interest rates. We're going to dive deep heavily in regards to what are some of the things that are occurring in regards to interest rates. What is causing this big change in the market? We're basically starting to get back to where we were about 3 months ago. It's been, as you guys can see on my screen, a very wild ride over the last few months when we talked about interest rates. Literally a roller coaster with it going up 1 week and down. And we're going to dive heavily into what happened last week and really what's been transpiring over the last 2 days with the PPI report and the CPI report. So, if we kind of go back to what happened last week, we know that the Federal Reserve went out. They once again held on their interest rates. They decided to hold off. And what did that basically transpire? They eliminated any potential of there being potentially rate hikes, right? That was one of the things that we were kind of scared of was, oh my God, inflation's not slowing down. People are still sending us money. What are we going to do? We actually were able to find out a little bit more insight that the Fed understood that interest rates were on a downward trend. We're a little bit far away from 2%, like we saw earlier today, which we're going to cover, but we are slowly making a downward trend. They emphasize it was unlikely for there to be a cut, which is awesome. The other thing we saw was the big market movement was the BLS report. As you guys can see, basically, since the BLS report came out about 2 weeks ago, BLS is a Bureau of Labor Statistics, which basically measures how many job openings are out there. And since that literally came out, we've been seeing a sharp downtick. We've consistently, since then, over the last 2 weeks, been seeing that sharp downtick. Now, again, the BLS report is the Bureau of Labor Statistics. We saw only 175,000 jobs were created. This significantly beat the expectations. As you guys can see, the difference from March to April was extensively significant, which caused a lot of those different fluctuations in regards to what we wanted to see. Now, another change that we also saw was private payroll also saw a reduction of only 192,000 jobs, which was awesome. We saw job openings again hit the smallest interval in regards to a 3-year low. Job openings and labor turnover seeing a little bit of a fluctuation in regards to what the expectations were. Now, again, the biggest gain that we're going to start seeing too, again, as interest rates continue to drop, affordability may or may no longer be a concern, but we are going to start seeing the buyers start to flood the market. Remember, a lot of consumers may or may not have the ability to qualify at the interest rates of where they were at 7-8%. We're now going to potentially start seeing rates in the fives and sixes, who knows, maybe even lower, right? But it's going to open up the floodgates in regards to what consumers have the ability to qualify for. So if you're somebody who bought a house within the last few months, or whether you purchased or refinanced, it's a great opportunity for you to now take advantage of what are some of the potentials. I only expect it to get significantly better. If we can get another data point reading, which we'll get later at the end of this month of the PCE report, again showing friendly, healthy data, we are going to continue on this downward trend, as I continuously said, for the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, we saw less jobs being created. We saw finally a crack in the labor market. And then this week, we saw the CPI report. So let's dive deeper into that. The CPI report, again, measures how are people spending their money. And we know for quite some time, people were really spending their money left and right, swiping those credit cards, putting on added more debt. We passed $1 trillion in debt. This was the first time we saw actually a decline in retail sales numbers, the lowest in 3 years. And we once again saw a decline in regards to where people were spending their money. Now, aside from the two of the things that we want to monitor, which were gas prices, rent, and we also saw shelter costs. Those have been the three sticky points that we've been seeing. We did see gas go up about 2.8. I personally noticed it. My car is horrendous on gas, and I've been filling it up probably a lot more than I normally would and paying a lot more than I should when I'm trying to fill it up. But we also saw a little bit of a decline in regards to used car sales, and this has been kind of tricky because we all know car prices have been extensively higher. That plays a major factor in it. Now, shelter costs. This is what affects my world, which is obviously in regards to real estate. We know that it makes up 45% and it rose only 0.4%. And in regards to shelter, it actually declined, and we actually saw an increase in regards to rental. Some of these rental prices are bananas, guys, from what I have been seeing consistently in regards to the market. Now, we are simultaneously also seeing that inflation on a year-over-year basis is slowly starting to come down. We want to monitor two different things, right? We want to monitor where is the shelter cost coming from? And also, as I mentioned earlier, the motor vehicle insurance, that's playing a massive, massive impact in regards to what some of the changes are in regards to home prices and obviously car sales. And as I mentioned earlier, retail sales also, we saw a little bit of a decline with that strip coming down. This is now factoring in after we saw both the CPI report and the retail sales numbers. We should potentially see at least 2 rate cuts. It was about to be 3 earlier. Then we got some really wacky data that caused interest rates to kind of go up, which was literally earlier last month. And now we're starting to see a little bit of a downshift. The narrative is constantly changing. So it is so critical that when you're searching for a home or when you're shopping, literally 1 month can potentially change your qualification, deem you ineligible, or worse, give you harder options in regards to what you have the ability to qualify for. So super, super important that when you are searching and you're looking for those options, you are very, very familiar and working with those professionals that have a firm understanding. So again, we were almost as high as 7.5%, which got a little scary at one point, which was literally less than 2 weeks ago. A lot of my clients, I told them, hold off in regards to us locking your interest rate. Let's see if the market improves. And thank God it has improved. And hopefully we will continue on this consistent downward trend. As I mentioned earlier, we'll get the updated PCE report later on this month. That will give a little bit more insight. That is the Fed's favorite gauge when we talk about interest rate cuts. So we'll start seeing a little bit of that insight, and then we'll take it from there. Okay. So again, this week we don't really have too much as we dove in further in regards to some of the updates that we saw. But I definitely want to see a little bit more of a firm understanding in regards to where the interest rates will continue to shift as the market starts to turn. I appreciate you guys jumping on. I know it's been a little while since I've shot this. Any questions that you guys have, please feel free to shoot us a message, and I look forward to chatting with you guys soon. Peace.